One of the most common questions I get asked is, how do I prove my value as a brand new freelance writer who doesn't really have case studies or data or really solid previous projects to show to potential clients while attempting to land business? And so in today's episode, I'm going to explain exactly how to demonstrate your value to potential clients so you can start landing some early gigs as a writer.
Now, the first step to any erotic conquest is to demonstrate your value.
So if you're ready to stop procrastinating and start getting paid, don't go anywhere. This episode is sponsored by Copy AI, a toolkit that helps writers, marketers, and freelancers skip writer's block completely and quickly create first draft copy for themselves and their clients. If you'd like to get a 30-day free trial, head on over to copy.ai/Jacob. So you're brand new or relatively new to being a freelance writer. You don't have a lot of really solid case studies or really solid projects to show to potential clients. What do you do? How can you show that you have some real solid value to offer potential clients? The first answer to this question is that if you're brand new, the type of value that you have to offer is a little bit different than the value that you probably see more established copywriters talking about in marketing to their clients. In following people like myself and other copywriters who have been around for a while, you probably see us citing, real case studies, real revenue numbers, specific performance metrics, all sorts of things that we can point to and say, hey, the copy that we've written has had a specific successful performance for a previous client. These are all things that you will develop over time, but are not really relevant to you when you're just getting started. Even for people like myself who can point to gigs like this, they are not the typical gig. Here's what you have to understand. The vast majority of businesses do not track the performance of their copywriting very well or at all. And most of the copywriting you're likely to do as a freelance copywriter is not going to be tracked. You're never going to get any data from it. It's purely going to be based on the perception and preferences of the client that you're working with. They're going to look at it, they're going to say, I like this, or they're going to say, I don't like this. Maybe they put it in front of their clients and it feels like it works well, or it feels like it didn't work well. You may get some feedback along those lines. But in order to really know how copy performs, it needs to be split tested to statistical significance. And I can tell you right now that 99% of businesses on the planet will never run a single statistically significant split test through the duration of their business. So what does this mean for you when you're looking to prove the value of your work? Well, first of all, what it means is that the early value that you're offering as a copywriter is not about the data. It's not about the real performance of your copy. The initial value that you provide as a new freelance copywriter is simply to help business owners who struggle to communicate their thoughts and ideas through words. If you followed me for any length of time, you know I'm an absolute broken record on this, but the average person struggles to communicate effectively through writing. Many business owners are very charismatic people. They can sit there and have a very effective one-to-one conversation with you, but the moment they need to take that same spiel and put it in writing, they really struggle. It tends to come out confusing, overly formal. There's just a lot of ways that the thought process breaks down for most people when they have to put it into writing. And that's where you come in. You simply need to come in and help someone who is not good at writing to communicate effectively through writing. And if you're someone who is effective at communicating through writing, even if you don't understand a lot of copywriting techniques or persuasion principles, simply looking at the typical small business website, you'll probably immediately identify places where the offer is confusing, the language is overly formal, it's just not very enjoyable to read. If you can come in and take that same message, make it more clear, more concise, more engaging, even give it a more casual and enjoyable tone, you're immediately adding significant value to this business, especially if they drive a significant portion of sales through their website or online presence. Additionally, what this means is that we don't need a really compelling case study in order to convince someone that we can offer this level of effective communication through writing. All we need is to show them a few pieces of writing where we're already doing this, where we're already helping another business, preferably a business that looks like theirs, to communicate effectively through writing. This can be done by rewriting a friend's website. It could be through self-publishing a blog post via either LinkedIn or something like medium.com. It could be through writing some sample emails. However you do it, the key here isn't that we can show, hey, look, I've made all this money for another business. The key is to show, hey, I can communicate effectively through writing within the specific context of what you are looking for your business. And this process does not require you to have some massive, super impressive portfolio with all these brands listed and all these projects. If you're looking to sell a healthcare company on rewriting their website copy, the single best thing you can show them is the website copy that you've written for another healthcare company. If I'm looking to close a new client today, after 10 years of experience across hundreds of clients in all sorts of different niches, if I want to close them on hiring me, I am not sending them to my portfolio. I am sending them one, maybe two links to the most relevant clients that I've worked with that look like their business. So what's the takeaway there if you're looking to demonstrate value as a new freelance writer? It means you don't need to be worrying about data. You don't need to be worrying about building some huge portfolio. You don't need to be worrying about branding. All you need to be focused on is generating one or two examples of your work that you can send to potential clients. While it's not important that you hyper-focus in one niche, you have to pitch someone. So let's say you've decided that you want to go pitch a handful of healthcare companies. The first thing you should be doing is figuring out a way to get an example of healthcare writing that you can pitch to these clients. So simplest, easiest, lowest hanging fruit scenario there would be to create a blog post on a healthcare related topic that you then self-publish via a LinkedIn article, medium.com. If you have a website already, you can publish it directly to your website. That's easy, that's simple, no gatekeepers required, no reaching out required. You immediately have an example to start using. The next step would be to use this post that we've just written to reach out to healthcare providers or people connected to the healthcare space or brands connected to healthcare in any way, and try to close them on writing some blog posts for them, writing some website copy for them, maybe writing some email copy for them. As soon as we've landed that first client, we're now using the published copy for that client, hopefully on their website or via their blog. We're using that in our pitch to the next healthcare company instead of the LinkedIn article that we had before. Or maybe we're using both. We can use those as our two different examples. And then once we land that second client, we're using our first two clients in the pitch to the third client. Following that, we're using the two out of the three that we feel are the most impressive, maybe have the most well-known brand, or we just feel do the best job of highlighting our copy. You know, if you felt like that first one, the copy you wrote really wasn't that great, but you like the next two a lot better, you use those two as our pitch. So the key here is that we're not looking to build some big, vague portfolio or some hyper-specific database case study that's going to propel our career. We can absolutely keep an eye out for that. We can absolutely target companies that we think are more likely to track data and give us something like that. But all we need is an example of our writing, something to communicate and demonstrate that, one, we are effective at communicating through writing, and two, that we can communicate through writing specifically within a context that's relevant to the business that we're pitching. And remember, when you are first getting started, this is when you have the least amount of value to offer, both in terms of skill and experience. So this is when pitching is going to be the hardest. There's no secret here. There's no magic button you press to get clients. It's just a lot of hustle. And the earlier you are, the more you have to hustle for each client. So if you're looking to start getting that initial client base, this is the path you take, and it's just a lot of hustle, a lot of work along the way, but it's going to get easier every single time. Every new client, every marginal client is easier to land than the one before. So I hope that was helpful, and I'll catch you guys in the next episode.